Good afternoon, everybody. First of all, my name is Tim White with Buxton. Welcome everybody to the webinar of Where's Your Next Wash? Leveraging Predictive Analytics for the Car Wash Industry. A couple of little housekeeping notes. First of all, we are recording this. So for any of the attendees and/or attendees who signed up but couldn't make it, we'll be sending out the link to the recording as soon as it's finished compiling. Next little housekeeping, there is a Q&A section. So if anybody during the webinar has any kind of thoughts, questions, or answers, certainly feel free to post those in the Q&A section, and we will address any of those questions at the end of the presentation. So without any further ado, we will go ahead and get started. So a quick little background on Buxton. We are a customer analytics company. The product and solution that we're talking about today is specific to the Express Wash product that we are offering. So we'll go ahead and get started and kind of dive right in as to the objectives of this solution that we have built. So in the first part of this, it's really about reducing risk. As we all know in this space, it is very expensive to get started in the express wash space. Anywhere from 4 to 5 to 6, upwards of $8 million of investment is needed in buying the dirt, buying the equipment, operating it. So it becomes a very expensive venture into opening an express wash. And so part of the tool, part of the reason for this solution is to reduce that risk, making sure that as you go in and looking at a piece of dirt to open an express wash, that you have the most confidence, the most correct granular data to identify where you need to go and why. And so as you're thinking about opening that location and mitigating that risk, avoiding those expensive mistakes, as we all know in this space, EBITDA becomes a very critical piece into maximizing that return on investment. So with that being said, not are we only looking at how do we mitigate risk, but how do we also optimize growth, especially in this space. As independent operators, operators that have now, 3, 4, 5, 10, 15 plus locations, as well as some of the bigger and larger branded car wash brands in the industry that have 90, 100, 150 plus locations. And then of course, as competitive as this marketplace is becoming, how are folks leveraging this to not only optimize growth, but really build a moat around their locations to keep competitors out of any of those local trade areas, maximizing the return on their loyalty members, providing more convenience for their loyalty members to have the option to go to multiple locations within their brand and within their network to increase that loyalty, to increase that awareness and that market level presence. It becomes very, very important to understand where you need to put that next net new wash. And then of course, as I've kind of touched on a little bit, in not only mitigating risk and optimizing growth, but how do you, given the outlay of capital for opening a net new location, how do you improve the return on that investment capital, not just pure dollars, but also from a human resource perspective as well, making sure that we're putting the locations in the right spot, making sure that we're getting the return on that dirt, on that equipment. And so basically it is spend your time and money where you're going to get the best return. So if we kind of think about it at an overall level, how are we leveraging extremely granular data to make those decisions much more effective, much more efficient, and having the confidence to be able to know where should I go put that net new location. So mitigate risk, optimize growth, and then of course, improve that return on that capital. So let's talk a little bit about, well, how have we done this? What have we actually built? So step one, we have identified over 11,000 plus opportunity sites across the entire United States. So if we think and go back to any other industry publications, any other analysis that has been done, obviously the space is a high growth mode. A lot of folks are getting into the game. A lot of the other brands that are already existing are continuing to look and identify where to go and protect that moat, as I mentioned earlier. And so what we've done by leveraging, again, very detailed data on actual customers, on competitors across the market, we have identified over 11,000 plus net new washes that can be placed across the country. So if we think about how does that work, I'm going to walk through all the data elements that go into that. But what we've done is we've taken all of this information that I'll walk us through. We have provided a tool that allows you to literally, in any market, in any address, you can, in a matter of about 20 seconds, get a score on any given piece of dirt, any existing location, to understand what is driving that performance of that location. And I'll walk us through here shortly as to what all of those elements are. You will get a site score for any of those locations that you have scored. And what you'll see here, and we'll walk it through here in a minute, all of the variables that go into and correlate with top performing express washes. So let's take a deep dive into what is actually in the actual model that you will have access to. First, we take into consideration the count, concentration, and proximity of your customer base. How did we do that? We actually surveyed, and when I say survey, we pulled actual customer data from over 5,000 washes across the country in different regions, in different population densities, and based on their connected car or cell phone device in their car that actually went through that express tunnel, we can actually capture those devices, track them back to where they live, where they work, where they came before, where they go after. And once we've tracked them back to where they live, that then unlocks all of the other data about those individuals, not just demographic information, but psychographic information. Who are they? Where are they? What do they read? What do they buy? What do they watch? What do they drive? Where do they go? A lot of granular data about who these individuals are. And because I literally have every household in America up to 6 individuals, once we've tracked those folks that went through that tunnel back to where they live, that allows me to develop a very comprehensive profile and the attributes of those customers. And because I have everybody in the country, we can then go identify everybody else who looks just like them. So step one is identifying that profile of who those folks are. Secondly, we've got to be able to not just have all the customers, but we also have to have cars. So specifically, we have all of the motor vehicle registration data for all cars across the country. And what we found in this model, and it should make sense, newer cars, specifically those 0 to 10 years old, have a higher correlation with performance. The younger the car, the more folks want to keep it maintained, keep it looking good, and therefore want to keep their car washed. And so that becomes another factor within the model. So we have customers, we have cars, now all of the other things that influence performance, one of those being area draw. Typically, When folks wake up in the morning, they don't always say, you know what, I'm going to go get a car washed or get my car washed. What they are doing is they're actually going out, doing other errands, going to the grocery store, picking up a prescription, running an errand, whatever the case may be. And because of the convenience of a nearby wash, they will now have the affinity to go to that wash. So once we've identified who those folks are who have a higher affinity to use an express wash, they have the right size, not size, but the right age of car. That is also important. And because of that convenience of area draw, that is another factor to performance. So when we're talking about area draw, we're talking about convenience-based businesses, retail GLA, retail activity points, banks, hair salons, gyms, restaurants, power centers, big box retail, anything that is bringing folks to that trade area and therefore to that wash. The more the awareness that they have, the more that convenience plays goes into account. So we have drivers, customers, we have cars, we have area draw. Now we also need to measure competitive presence. So in the model is all of the competitors, and that comes from both express, flex, and full service. So how many of them are within that trade area of that net new location you're looking at, and what kind of impact would they have to your wash? And then lastly is road traffic counts. So making sure that there's enough visibility as those cars are driving by and those customers are driving by. Are you getting enough eyeballs on that potential wash that you are looking at? So within the platform, you will have the ability to visualize all of this information right at your fingertips very easily, to be able to score a site, look at the customers, look at the vehicle registrations, look at the area draw, look at the competitors, and look at the traffic counts. So as an example, in the actual platform, you will be able to, in just a click of a button, see all of the other competitors across the country, both branded, mom and pop, a wide variety of different washes. Again, express, flex, and full service. You will also be able to see your actual customers that went through your wash. And because we surveyed over 5,000 express washes with over 1 million customer records, we have all of that data that is at your fingertips. So you can not only see your own existing customers from your wash, you can go pull that data on any geography, at any retail point, at any other express wash. So very simply, in a matter of a couple of minutes, you can draw a box around your existing location or competitive location or retail center, whatever the case may be, and pull those actual folks that are going into that wash, that center, that retail activity point, and get a lot of meaningful data about the profile, the trade area. Where else are they coming before? Where are they going after? What are other branded retailers that are going? And so if you kind of think about it, not only is this tool leveraged to be able to identify where a net new wash should go, you're going to get tons of data on those actual customers, which a lot of folks love to use this in their marketing efforts, not only who to go after, but where to go after. What are the types of messaging? What are the types of offers? What are the type of attributes of those actual customers that you can then develop marketing tactics and campaigns around? So not only can we see the actual customers, where it really becomes important is starting to understand, well, where are all the other folks who look just like them? And so with the profile that we have developed based on all of those actual customers, we can go see everybody else who looks just like them. And so the red dots that you're seeing on the screen right now is that illustration of where is the high demand areas of all of those other folks who look just like that core consumer who has a high affinity to use an express wash. And so this is a great way to be able to see where could I go put a net new location along with all of the other variables to get a site score on. But it also helps me understand, well, where should I go market to those folks as well. So we'll now be able to see for any of those geographies where all of those other potential core consumers are anywhere in an existing trade area, potential trade area, anywhere across the country. You will also be able to see all of the vehicle counts, and vehicle counts, which comes from the Polk registration database, which has every car, type of car, fleet car, truck, SUV, you name it, luxury type. You'll be able to get a count for any geography of all of those total registered vehicles. And yes, even by age. So we can get a specific count just for those 0 to 10-year-old cars, which is the most critical in the express wash industry. The next piece that we can look at is, well, how many of those cars are actually driving by? And so the great thing about this information is we can look at those traffic counts, literally millions of traffic counters across the country, not only a total count, but we can look at it by time of day and by side of road. So if you're looking to put a wash on the north side or the south side, you can actually get a count by time of day, how many cars are going to be driving by for that specific time of day on that specific side of the street. And so this brings up another kind of key element into the modeling effort, and really where, you know, to pardon the pun, where does the rubber hit the road, if you will. Some of the things that are still going to be critical in defining a successful wash for you that is not in the model are other things such as real estate characteristics, meaning, are you laying out perpendicular or parallel to the road? Is there a divided intersection? Are you at a signalized intersection? What is the ingress and egress of the dirt that you're actually looking at? How well do you run your loyalty program in signing up new customers? The purpose of this data and this tool is to put you in the best spot to give you the greatest chance of success based on known customers, based on known vehicles, based off known competitive presence, area draw, and traffic. This is going to give you the best spot to identify where you need to go. And because we have built this model and identified over 11,000 plus net new opportunities across the country, you can simply get onto the platform, have all of that data at your fingertips. But if you just want to get on and say, hey, for my given market, where should I go focus? You can simply push a button and see where all those net new opportunities are. You can get a score for those. So it really makes your time much more effective, much more efficient in where should you go open that net new wash with all of the backup data of why you need to open that. For any of those folks who are looking for investment opportunities or investment backing, the banks and private equity love to see this kind of data and these reports, because now it gives them the confidence as well to be able to say, all right, great, we want to get involved. We want to help from a financial perspective because we trust the data. We have confidence in the data of where should we go. So in summary, what it is that we've done by leveraging extremely granular and specific data, again, looking at over 5,000 existing wash-ins and 1 million customer records, we've pulled all of those actual cars and people that have driven through those tunnels, profiled those, understand specifically who has the high affinity to be that express wash customer. We've looked at all of the characteristics of those registered vehicles, more specifically 0 to 10 years old. I've got to have the right customers. I've got to have the right cars. I also have to have the right retail draw, having those right co-tenants, those right folks that are going to bring other customers to my wash because of that convenience play. We also have the competitive presence and landscape for the entire country to be able to understand how well they are doing. And then finally, that traffic count. How many of those folks are actually driving by and seeing my big, beautiful wash? All right. What we are offering. So for anybody who is interested, we would love to hear from you. If you want to, and I'll leave this on the screen here for a while, there is a QR code on the screen. If you would like, we will run a free report for you. So if there is a specific site that you're curious about, if there is a specific site, maybe you just signed a lease, or maybe you're thinking about signing a lease and want to get some data on that and some confidence building on that specific location, scan this QR code. We'll be able to reach out to you, get an address or an intersection of where you're looking, and we can very quickly run a report, send that to you, and walk you through all of the answers and the data that supports how well that location scores with all of those variables in the model. Okay, so we've gone through the solution. We've gone through all of the data that is backing up that solution. We've given everybody the opportunity to, if you want to get a free report, certainly do so. We will reach out and provide that to you free of charge. So what we're going to do now is kind of open it up to any Q&A or questions that any of the attendees have. You can just simply type in there. I've already seen quite a few questions that have been popped up. So if anybody at any point in time wants to post a question, do that and we will answer that question. So we've got a few minutes left to be able to answer that. So let me just kind of dive right into some of the questions that have been posted. The first one here: how often is the data refreshed and updated? So the great thing about the platform and the great thing about the solution is the data is constantly being updated. All of the customer data literally gets updated every 24 hours. All of the competitive information, we are constantly web scraping all of the competitive location information and posting that. So as those new washes are officially opened, we push that into the platform. And anytime you run a site score for any of that data that is updated, it will take that into consideration. So you could literally run a site score for a location, and a month later, if a competitor opens and you score that site again, that site score will change because that competitive location has been opened. Very appropriate here. We've got another one. How do you identify the competitors? So what we have done when we looked at all of the express car washes in the country, we literally pulled all of the competitors from a wide variety of different data sources. One of those being Dun & Bradstreet. Two, we've done a lot of primary research and pulled web scrapes of all of the competitors across the country. Literally went onto their website, pulled the address, and posted that into the platform. When we built the models for the Express Wash solution, we took all of those locations into account to build that model. Follow-up question on the competitive. How do you identify for sites that may be closed down but appear online because they haven't shut down? So good question. I will tell you this: on all the competitive location, it is not 100% accurate for those kinds of things. We have to go based on the data that we have. We're always cross-referencing between the Dun & Bradstreet data and the web scrape data. But if there is a lag between when somebody said they opened or when they closed, we're constantly monitoring that data. But if there's a location that said it was going to open, but hasn't opened yet, that is why we wait to post that data until we know they are open. If they have shut down, but they still appear online, we'll have that Dun & Bradstreet data over time kind of clean that up, but there may be a lag there. All right, another question. Were the 5,000 customers looked at just Express customers or Express, Flex, and Detail? The 5,000 washes with over 1 million customer records were just Express. This model is just for the Express car wash. While we have all of the other data on Flex, Full Service, and Detail, and you can go pull the profile on those, the solution is specifically for the Express. Okay, another question. What are the fees to use the platform, or is it a monthly fee? Here is how we engage. We license the solution based on the geography and number of users. It's very, very simple in how we do this. A state is $25,000 for a year, $20,000 for the second and the third year. So 25 year one, 20 year two, 20 year three. Each additional state is $1,500 per year. So for those of you who want, 2 states, 3 states, 4 states, it's just an additional $1,500 per state. For additional users, it's $500 per user. Simple as that. So if you wanted 3 states with 2 users, 25, 20, 20, plus the additional $1,500 for each state. If you wanted the 2 users, it's just another $500. So the way that we always think about this is because the given outlay of capital for an express wash, where you're literally spending $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 million for a wash. A couple of ways to think about this is it an investment? A little bit of one, but given the outlay of capital to open a wash, it's a great way to be able to understand, could you go spend that $4, $5, $6, $7, $8 million? And know, is this a good location to open? The other element of this too, as I mentioned before, is as you're looking for, banks to invest in, other owners to invest in, it's a great way to be able to use a third-party, non-biased data set to be able to understand, should we go there or not? Okay, another question here. Competitors might be building in the same area, yet not on the map. Does the system work with the city where the city records to see a competitor coming into an area? No. The short answer is no to that. So this is where kind of building that moat becomes critical. As a matter of fact, we have a lot of folks who are on the platform even currently today. 3 of the 4 largest brands across the country. A lot of folks that have 5, 10, 15, 30 plus washes. They're using this as the advantage to get ahead of the curve, to be able to understand purchase land, lock that license into place so that they can get ahead of the curve before folks are, wanting to get in and beat them to the punch, if you will. I mentioned this earlier, another question, how can the model be used for marketing purposes, not just site selection? As I mentioned before, a lot of folks are using this to be able to understand not only who those core consumers are, but where are they? So one of the layers within the platform is you can overlay zip codes, so you can get counts of those core competitors, or not core competitors, excuse me, core consumers by zip code. And so you can now start leveraging and understand what zip codes should you go target, what should the messaging based on the profile of those consumers are. And so marketing can absolutely use this to promote the wash that you either have currently or looking new. Another question, is there a scale on the site scores? How do we know what is good? Yes, good versus bad. Yes, there is. So every score, and I'll let me see if I can back up to the site score sheet just to show. So here is a site score sheet. The score is in the upper right-hand corner. You can see for this example, it scores 125. Everything is centered around 100. So basically, of all the variables that go into a model or into this model, when you're scoring a site, and based on all the sites that we have recommended and preloaded into the platform, everything will score above a 100. So you're looking for anything that scores above 100. Anything below 100, you want to be a little bit cautious of, but I would also argue that if it scores a 98, that doesn't mean run away from it. 98 is still a good location, but 125 is better. Okay, do you have data on the outcomes of customers that have used your solution versus average results? The short answer to that is no. We're not getting data back from any of our customers who have used the platform, scored a site, opened a site, and then provided sales or number of cars through the tunnel back. We're not collecting that information because obviously the sensitivity and the confidentiality of that data, we're not capturing that data back from our customers, and therefore we're not sharing that data back out with folks. I love this next question. Did the model find any correlation between car color and the amount of washes per car? We would love to have a car wash or car color. We unfortunately do not have that. But as you know, we all know in the industry, the darker the car, the better. The lighter the car, not as good. So that is simply just anecdotal. I wish I had car color to be able to correlate that, but no, we don't. All right, looks like I've got one more question here so far, unless any other ones pop up. This is a little bit of a repeat. Does the model account for upcoming locations that are being built but not have opened yet? So no, we only populate that data when we know it has been opened, not a coming soon or not a one that's getting ready to open. We specifically only put into the platform once we know that they've actually opened. Okay. I don't have any more questions unless something. Oh, no, we got one more here. Nope, I lied. We have two more now. Did you have the wash performance of the washes you looked at? Yes, we did, but strictly based on volume of people going through the washes. So think of that as a proxy for performance. We didn't actually have their sales or top line revenue. What we could measure was how many people are going through that, which obviously is a proxy for performance. The more people going through, the higher the sales. And then the last question that just popped up, with banks, have this report help achieve funding? Yeah, the short answer is yes. Banks always want a third-party unbiased view, especially that is data-driven, to help achieve funding. Okay, sorry, nope, another last question, another one just popped up. If I only want the service in a single county, is there a separate price for that? for example, just LA County. No, unfortunately, the way that we license our data, the smallest geography is a state level. Okay. All right, no other questions, at least I don't think, unless one pops up here in the next 30 seconds or so. So I'm going to end this as a closing here. Again, thanks everybody for attending. Hope you learned something. Hope you learned a little bit more about Buxton and the express car wash solution that we have built. Again, as I mentioned at the beginning, we have this recorded. We'll be sending this link out on the recording to everybody who attended. This was originally scheduled for about 45 minutes, and so we're at minute 36 right now. So here we are on this Tuesday afternoon. We'll let you get about 9 minutes back. So finally, again, thank you guys for attending. Thanks for all the great questions. We'll send out the link, and if you scanned the QR code, certainly reach out. We'll run that report to you, and if you've got any other additional questions, thoughts, or answers, we'd be happy to jump on the phone, show you a live demonstration of your specific geography that you're looking at, and show you a little bit more detail about all the data and the solution that we have to offer you. So finally, yep, no more. Well, hold on. Nope, sorry, we do have two more questions. Nope, sorry, one more question. Nope, not even a question. It was just a thank you. All right. Well, I'll end it there then. Thank you for your time. And we look forward to, for any of you who want a free report, look forward to your feedback, and we'll provide that to you and answer any other thoughts or questions they have. Thank you. Bye.